So, hello friends. Another day, another week, I guess. So this is the second video I'm going to react in today's week, and the videos I'm going to react is YouTube most evil community is being shut down by some ordinary gamers. This is actually a very recent video from some ordinary gamers, also known as Mutahar. I'm just gonna call him Mutahar. It's just so simple that some ordinary gamers. But it is a very interesting brand for himself to say that some ordinary gamers. It's also very clean and pleasant, I guess, in this case. Even in my sense, I changed like my name. I am Kuyan. Also, I completely forgot to introduce myself. I am Kuyan. I react dark stuff here on YouTube, So yeah, Mutahar. This video is usually just uploaded like 5 days ago. It's actually very surprising. So before I'm going to play this video, hopefully you can leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that hopefully in the future I can make more stuff like this for you to enjoy and, just play in the background while we chill. Possibly like you may be like working or some sort, as I've heard like some comments that you're working in the background, or maybe you're just trying to stay awake, in the night, or even, a calm video, I guess, to watch before you sleep. I don't know why you watch dark stuff before you sleep. You're a brave one if you do that. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. The following video, I'm gonna read this. The following video contains some subject matter that regarding to the animal warfare. Your discretion is advised. Okay, this gotta be disgusting.
Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and ladies and gentlemen, I'll be real. There's not every day we have like the best news to talk about, but a couple days ago, one of the biggest indictments to one of the most evil communities spurning from YouTube actually happened. A couple days ago, I read this. Grand jury indicts 11 more individuals for involvement with online groups dedicated to bad things with monkeys, okay? Bad stuff to do with little harmless critters. Now, animal welfare is a pretty important thing. I don't really talk about it all so much on the internet. Like, it's not really like a daily video topic for me. But throughout my career, I've definitely covered plenty of cases where there have been some pretty bad people regarding, dealing with animals.
It's kind of crazy too. Like, there's a lot of people seemingly love recording and like watching these like violent videos that they just did to like animals in this case, which is so weird. I don't know why some people just want to have like enjoyment about that. Also, friends, I do have to apologize that I may be like coughing throughout this video because lately I'm just feeling sick, So I do apologize in advance for that. Like right now, I'm also like having like snot in this case. Snot? Do you even call that snot? Snotty nose is the word for that. I don't know, but yeah. Sorry for that.
One of my most popular videos was like, there is a TikTok cat killer right now, where I actually go through the rabbit hole of coming across somebody that would be on Omegle. Remember when Omegle existed? There would be one person that would actually be showing, dead animals, basically somebody that would be harming animals. It would be like a digital animal serial killer that would be patrolling the internet, so to speak. Now, at the time that I made this video, I will admit that it was kind of a hasty thing to go in. I felt like maybe this person could probably be real, but there was a sliver of chance that maybe it was just somebody that was getting attention. Now, obviously, at the time, because of the nature of the things being talked about, the crazy cat lady was basically being screened by every community on the internet, not just ours. Now, luckily in this situation, I did actually get in touch with a lawyer at the time. Well, they actually got in touch with me. And through, I guess, a long investigation period, relatively speaking, eventually the FBI actually did identify who this person was, a 19-year-old who was arrested on federal animal cruelty charges for producing and distributing animal crush videos.
Wait, so this is a 19-year-old. Is this a woman too? That's actually very rare to even like see like some, like women that even like record all of this video. I guess they like gothic stuff in this case. I don't know. Maybe is that a gothic thing even? Like sacrificing the souls of like animals in this case. They're very violent in this case too. So
now, for anybody that doesn't know what an animal crush video is, I'll give you the best explanation. Okay, imagine this is an animal's head. This is your foot. You get the idea. It's a pretty deplorable level of content, but there's a lot of sickos on the internet, and sickos will consume some really dark, depraved content. Crazy. And sometimes, as disgusting as that may seem to us, for some sickos, it is in fact gratifying behavior, as disgusting as it sounds. But thankfully, in this situation, there was actually an arrest. The FBI.
I'm pretty sure, like if you enjoy those type of weird content, you're probably some kind of like mental issue in this case. You have to get some mental welfare in check, you know.
I got involved. They raided the house, and it just did not seem all that good at the end of the day. But
Really?
ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, there was a good ending to the story. There
Yeah.
are endings that aren't so good. You know, when I covered, there was a animal crush related situation in
Oh yeah.
China, for instance,
Yeah,
that was
in China.
making international, like, social media attention. And unfortunately, in case
This was also, I tried to also like, I guess, share this type of like story, especially when it comes to like those TikTok iceberg. In this case, I tried to like share this type of specific story where the violent person, I guess, who unfortunately did killed animals in this case are located in China, where they unfortunately can't get arrested because, you know, in China there's no laws against those killing like animals except for pandas for some reason. So they really just love protecting pandas, and you know, unfortunately he got escaped and he's never tried in court.
cases
Crazy.
regarding China, they don't really have the same animal welfare
Yeah.
laws that America necessarily does. So, generally speaking, if you're a sicko over there, you kind of have the freedom to act, unfortunately. So,
Crazy.
of course, to go back to what had actually happened in regards to the government actually putting in some serious punishments on these people, let's read their press release. So, an indictment was unsealed today charging 11 defendants across the United States, actually coast to coast, for their alleged involvement with online groups dedicated to creating and distributing videos depicting acts of extreme violence and abuse against monkeys. So, the indictment alleges that individuals conspired with previously charged defendants. Okay, one of them was Nicholas Dryden of Cincinnati, to distribute these disgusting animal crush videos. So, in the indictment, they actually claim 79 overt acts in which defendants allegedly actually paid that producer Dryden, or the middleman, who had then actually paid a minor in Indonesia to commit those acts on camera.
What? So it's like a transitional middleman, I guess, in this case. It's like rather than an adult, in this case, a minor. It's so crazy. Crazy world we live in, man. Especially there's like a lot of international stuff, especially like, you know, in the internet. You can basically ask any people that's outside, I guess, to do some devious acts in this case. So unfortunate.
So I actually talked about this probably as it was happening. Like, I've been covering this, as every landmark event happens, so this is not new for me. Now, again, this is not a new thing. Unfortunately, these kind of people have basically been on the internet for the better part of over a decade, over half a decade at this point, at least provably confirmed, doing disgusting shit. But shortly after I made that like crazy cat killer video, there were other communities, like for instance, one from this lady free thinker who was actually initially making this call, like they were reporting about the fact that there were serious problems on social media, especially platforms like Telegram, where a lot of these people actually communicated, and we'll read some of those chats in a minute. But yeah, Dryden was actually talked about all the way back in March and April 2023, for instance.
Also, why monkeys to be specific here? It's kind of crazy. Like, they really like killing monkeys for some reason. And I don't know why. It's so weird to like sharing that around, you know, in the internet.
Right over here, you can see that in this 2024 press release, when two were charged with involvement with online groups dedicated to the sick shit.
Yeah, like, come on, man. I love monkeys. They're so adorable. We actually own some monkeys in our place. I don't know where, because my dad like buy exotic creatures and like animals. So yeah, we kind of own like monkeys. It's kind of unfortunate because he's been caged and all alone. And whenever I go to the place where they've been going to my cousin's house, every time I go there, like I see him like even like scared and like very agitated, and like even like try to have like these gnarly faces, you know. So it's kind of like I can see like the monkey is unfortunately, you know, scared and alone, caged up. It's kind of very sad actually. I kind of feel with that monkey, and he's been caged there for a very long time, and he's unfortunately been captured by, you know, a lot of people here in the Philippines. It's so sad, man. I love monkeys, and I love all animals in this case, even if they're dangerous. They're just fascinating, very ferocious, you know. I love like the biology and stuff, and like how they evolve in certain, you know, environment. I really love science actually. Like I love like seeing like not either monkeys. There's also like microbiology. I really love the world that we live in. Like it's kind of weird. Like I'm actually the most positive person in the world. As I seen like that, I'm very positive. Like how life would be, and you know, like all the animals, all the science and stuff, the world. Like I'm very hopeful for the stuff about humanity actually. which is kind of weird because I love watching like dark stuff too. Crazy.
Nicholas Dryden was charged with conspiracy to create and distribute so-called Animal Crush videos, and distributing them too. So Dryden's also charged with the creation of the stuff, as well as production, distribution, and receipt of a visual depiction of abuse of children, because a minor was paid to abuse the monkeys. So because a kid was involved, the feds could just tack on extra charges, as they should. So in this video I made even a year ago talking about the situation, not necessarily an indictment, but a description of exactly what was occurring right here. So according to the feds who were investigating this, on December 28th, a videographer, so KS, in Indonesia, sent an encrypted message via an online messaging application to the defendant. KS attached a photograph of a juvenile macaw. So there's a monkey, and told the defendant, if you want, it's only 100, that's okay. I've already bid. Who got it was my neighbor, so cheap. 5 minutes later, the defendant replied, yeah, I'll take it. KS asked the defendant if he wanted pliers or hammers. And I think you guys can understand exactly what is happening with this, what is gonna be happening, okay? It's not good. December 29th, the defendant sent $100 via an online payment platform. And again, you might be like, it's only $100. Remember, you're sending $100 to places in Indonesia where cost.
And if you don't know, friends, like here in the Philippines, like a single dollar is like 50 pesos in here. That means like a single dollar that you send for me is like $50 in here. That's usually like how it works. So $100 like times 50 is like, it's like you times it by 50 is in each like $1 you have. So 100 times 50 is like 5,000, I think in this case. So yes, it's pretty expensive actually.
Cost of living is substantially lower than the United States, especially if these people are not living in like urban centers, clearly. So the defendant also sent KS a screenshot of the payment confirmation. In the payments memo line, the defendant stated, neighbor monkey troubles. So bank records showed that this payment caused an instant transfer from the defendant's checking account at a bank in Prairie du Chien, Washington. And again, then in December 30th, so a day later...
That's not Washington, that's Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure Mutahar misread that, but it's all right,
KS sent the defendant 10 video files. A special agent from the FBI reviewed the videos and provided the following description for...
Also, I kind of like always confuse like Wisconsin and Washington too, so like this can easily be like blurred. If you blur both of those texts, I'm pretty sure I misread Wisconsin and Washington.
One video. And again, that's one job I don't think anybody, envies at the FBI, is like actually watching this sick shit and cataloging it for evidence. Now, that was from specifically United States versus Kenneth Herrera. So a little bit different from the case that we're looking at over here, but generally speaking, the investigation and generally speaking, like the people we're working with, the acquiring of this disgusting shit is very similar, right? But let's go down the monkey hate rabbit hole real quick, like these specific people that were actually indicted. Now, one of the things that you'll find on YouTube is like monkey videos, and there's plenty of them that exist all over the platform. And generally speaking, like animals, when
I kind of like wishing that AI generated would be a thing because, hopefully there's no violent monkeys in this case, or even unfortunately exploited monkeys too. So it's kind of very sad, man. Like people around the world are exploiting a lot of these like creatures in this case that should belong to nature, Humans are just built different and nobody should live, around humans unless you're possibly a rat in this case. Or a lizard. Like there's a lot of lizard in my dorm, but there's not a lot of mice, except I always hear them up off the roof of my dorm, but there's like a lot of lizards around here, which is interesting.
When it comes to videos, there are some pretty wholesome things, obviously. Like this whole website was probably built off of the back of like numerous cute cat videos. So animal videos have a place all over the internet. And of course, the deeper you go down this rabbit hole in amongst the cute videos, you might find stuff that's a little bit
exploitive.
Like what's going on here? Why are we making the actual animal dress up like a little girl and perform tricks on camera, okay? Doesn't necessarily seem like animal welfare is really necessarily thought of with these videos. And again, it's a range, right? It doesn't go from like cute video all the way to like crush and stomp their heads in. It's a range of people involved in these situations. And I'm not an animal expert, and I'm sure that in a lot of these videos, it wouldn't necessarily be constituting abuse. Remember, this is a video from recent days, okay? This is a video that's on YouTube. YouTube is where this kind of stuff started, but YouTube has done a lot of good moderation in basically culling this kind of video, style off of the platform. Now, granted,
I
YouTube's one
see.
of the biggest web sharing websites in the world, like video sharing sites. So I wouldn't doubt, still if this kind of stuff exists in a super dark corner of YouTube. But it's not a dark corner that I feel comfortable necessarily showing you how to access or even attempt to reach
But it is an interesting thing that YouTube really have a very good moderation in this case, rather than TikTok, because almost anyone can like see some kind of disturbing stuff out there, which unfortunately they don't have a good moderation in that case. Also, there may not be a good moderation when it comes to international viewers too in this case, especially on YouTube side too. So there may be like international stuff that we don't even know that there's dark videos that still exist in the background.
in a video like this. But again, to go down, I'm sure you get the idea. What would actually happen down the road is obviously if you look at investigations from the BBC, for instance, that did a whole Monkeygate investigation. There was a bunch of other creators that were following this stuff far longer than me and other internet like investigators. But some of the comments that would be on some of these videos would be deplorable shit like this. I want to see one put into boiling water or
Oh,
boiling vegetable oil. So again, some comments would be these tree rats are only good for entertainment, abuse, torture,
oh,
and
what the
being killed.
fuck?
So you're kind of understanding the
I don't know if this is even illegal for people who even watch this type of like disturbing videos. In this case, is that even illegal? Because I would hope for people that unfortunately get pleasure from this get in prison. Like these are just fucking deplorable people, monsters even.
sickos you're working with, right? Like the people
Yeah,
that would watch these videos, they would actually really enjoy this sick, depraved shit. Now, again, with a lot of these animal videos, it's like it shows me like that there's a real disgusting part of the world, but I feel like with YouTube, there's a lot of effort put towards like protecting minors on the platform when they're
yeah.
depicted in videos, which is great. But if you ever have
Thank
been
God.
like if you ever have seen like how the media industry has worked, it's like back in the day when you were on movie sets or like TV places or TV sets or anything, animal welfare wasn't necessarily even super duper considered. It wasn't until much later on that laws started being implemented where you have to really focus on animal welfare. You have to make sure that animals are treated with dignity and respect, and you can't go back to the days of fucking blowing horses up with goddamn dynamite at this point. So
Really
I wonder if like that kind of stuff will
interesting.
eventually have to make its way over to YouTube in an international sense. Remember, YouTube is a website that is headquartered in California. It's pursuant to United States like federal law. So I'm wondering if that's going to have to be
Interesting.
necessarily applied. But I wonder how the system, whether it be AI or human, is going to be able to actively moderate that to this day. But anyways, it wasn't just YouTube that these guys were on. YouTube was like the drip feed, okay? Because generally speaking, there's only so much you can do on YouTube before, again, the moderation bots have to step in. YouTube moderation does exist. If things do get egregious, sometimes you'll notice comment sections get turned off. Like, for instance, a lot of children, like content creators, like people who depicted children in their content, just family channels had to have their comments turned
Yeah,
off because, there was a time where there were people sharing like disgusting like numbers or people like talking about disgusting things in those comment sections to the
I've
point.
also like heard from a last video from my favorite commentator too. Like he has been like seeing this like bots within the YouTube comments for any type of popular content creator for this matter. Like these bots have like links attached to them. There's even like sharing links in this case too for some illegal shit. So I've never heard a lot of that used now. So hopefully that is being moderated by YouTube. And this is the beautiful thing about YouTube. Like some other content creators can experience some bad things. They can, voice they can make a video and voice out their concerns, and a lot of people can get noticed by this. And YouTube can get noticed about this, and they try to crack down all of those, pesky stuff that has been going on, especially in the comment section from these type of videos. So it's a very good community organized that has been YouTube where everyone like collectively work together to shut down all of these like monsters that has been like growing from their own platform, and like some very weird people too. It's kind of cool actually to see.
Where YouTube just had to turn them off entirely for videos. But again, to go over here to see exactly what's going on, eventually in this BBC investigation, what would happen is people would be like, love watching this stuff. How can I find him? I can pay him. And of course, one user goes Telegram. Now, Telegram is
It's kind of interesting. Like almost all violent stuff, especially from animals, go to Telegram, while all the nasty shit that taking advantage of all minors is happening on Discord. So they have like two of the most common, I guess, apps in this case.
an important website, and if you've ever like not been to Telegram, if you've ever not used it, anytime you probably see me do like a crypto investigation, you probably see me use Telegram, right? It's a mobile app.
I don't use like Instagram. No, not Instagram. Telegram in this case. I don't use Telegram and Discord. I only use like Instagram and Twitter, X, and YouTube, and possibly that's it. Oh, also like Blue Sky. Those are the only stuff I think, as I remembered. Yeah, I think those are the only stuff that I only use.
Application. It's like designed for privacy, security, so on and so forth. And of course,
Interesting.
I've got it over here, and quite honestly, it's just me looking at like crypto scam lists. There's maybe one actual legitimate user on here, Smelly VX, from the guys over at VX Underground. Other than that, it's all just scams and spams and deceptive shit. Now, Telegram has had to do a lot of things throughout their time. Like they had to block literally millions of groups and channels. They had to deal with hundreds of thousands of CSAM-related groups, unfortunately, and of course, tens of thousands of terrorist-related communities as well. It's a place where, because of the security and the encryption and the privacy that it offers, you, the user, can unfortunately use it for really good purposes, like avoiding.
Yeah, like especially like some kind of revolution. Like in this case, trying to go against a tyrant government in this case, or that's always watching. Like, for example, I think China in this case can hopefully use Telegram so that they can like have private messages for people to talk about freedom, I guess. But unfortunately, they can also use for the worst and for the bad people, that unfortunately use this as like an underground channel for them to, I guess, do some human trafficking shit and any type of drugs related, or even like all of this, violent stuff that have been happening.
Censorship and basically retaining your privacy. Or if you're a criminal scumbag douchebag, you can use it to effectively evade the law as long as you reasonably can, which unfortunately is what happened over here. Now, because of all this, there have been so many communities that were forming regarding monkey hate on YouTube. Two of them were pretty popular. One of them was, I believe it was Ape's Cage, and the other one was actually Million Tears. Now, inside these groups would be people producing videos that a US judge literally said, according to these news reports, except for the abuse of a child, I don't know if I've ever been presented with a more disturbing video. Yeah, these are pretty fucked up videos to be watching. And generally speaking, there's been entire communities on the internet that have effectively been cataloging everything that's been happening with these shitty communities. Now, for instance, if you look at some of the names that have actually been indicted, they're all over the United States. These are people that apparently have interacted with that Nicholas Dryden character. Now, some of these names I actually do recognize, names like Victoria, also known as Sparkles Fancy Pants. Now, I know about this name specifically because all over the internet, in a lot of these, I would say riskayer communities, they've been basically following these people for quite a long time. Now, you might not know the website Kiwi Farms. I've kind of talked about it in the past when covering controversial figures. But if it's one thing that attracts every corner of the internet, whether it be good, bad, or in between, it's animal crush videos and the desire to seek actual justice against people that would harm animals and maybe one day evolve into actually harming real humans if the pay was fucking high enough. Now, of course, that name actually was tagged over here. These people have been in these Instagram groups, for instance, these Kiwi farmers, and they have basically been cataloging all of this information. So I don't want to pretend that I got these text messages by infiltrating this group. This group is long gone, but people who have investigated this have done the good due diligence of archiving this footage and saving it so that federal investigators, people down the road, can grab this information and use it when seeking out indictments or actually charging. So we can read a couple things from these people. We can read a couple things.
The interesting stuff here too is like I never seem to hear like a lot of people on the European side in this case. So almost all of them seems to be American, which is kind of interesting. There may be like some exceptions, of course. There may be hiding a little bit too harshly, or there may be just really good bright people there in Europe. So yeah, also unfortunate. It is unfortunate too. Like there's a lot of, unfortunately, from the third world country in this case, those type of like notorious like shitty people can never get investigated in this case. So it's kind of sad.
from Fancy Pants and get an idea of how sick this person really is. So when reading Fancy Pants' message, allegedly reading the messages from them, macaws just bring out a rage in me. I just want to kick it. That's just me. So of course you go down over here.
I kind of think like this person maybe has some troubling childhood, which where violence was normalized. So she kind of, or she or he kind of think like violence is like very normal to it, I guess. Just so sad to even like see, man. It's like even reading some of these messages, like I don't even want to
Tell
read
me,
it out
what would
loud.
you do with it? Asks one user, Popa Perk. I would take styrofoam and drop it into a jar of gasoline. Once it gels, I would put it on BB Monkey and light. Voila, napalm. And spank his monkey. Just tell him to burn it a little with a cigarette. I mean, these kind of messages absolutely like I'm trying to keep composure on camera, but when I read sick stuff like this, I absolutely like I hope that the US government, I hope that any federal agency involved
Life
in here
imprisonment.
absolutely is able to deliver the most like
Yes.
insane charges on these people so they never fucking see the light of day again. Because again,
Yes.
like the animals are bad enough, but I can only imagine like the psychology involved with people like this when
Yeah.
again, this isn't enough for them, right? Because again, you have to realize that this is an evolving, it's a constant evolving like fetish for them, right? Like it's like a
Yeah.
drug,
They will. I hope they will rot in jail in this case. Like they're never gonna see the light of day in this case. Hopefully.
You start off from something light. Eventually, you'll work your way up to the harder stuff, whether you like it or not. So when I start to see behavior like this, it's like, when does it go from a human being, or sorry, an animal, all the way to like a human being? And at that point, it's a whole different echelon of criminal behavior, right? Like this is bad enough. But it could get to a point where, like, again, it can always be worse. That's really all you can get out of this. Now, obviously, if anybody in this list gets properly charged, as they were convicted, or if they get convicted as they were charged in these indictments, they face maximum penalties of 5 years in prison. Which, again, for some people who are really, big into animal welfare, they may not seem like a lot, but again, this is an evolving situation, right? Like, maybe things can change down the road. Maybe other charges can necessarily be brought into. But at the end of the day, all of this just comes. I'm glad that there's at least some justice being done to people as disgusting as this. To show you like the international scale and like the amount of people working on this, this was just another investigation too done in the
Hmm.
United Kingdom where like these
Oh.
two women were allegedly like uploading 22 images and 132 videos of
Okay.
monkeys.
So there are some European stuff that's also happening in this type of like violence and stuff. So yeah, there's maybe like international like violent stuff that will be happening, man. And they're just like sharing it all. It's a good thing that they've been jailed only for 2 years and 15 months. What? It should be like more than what should be expected on their stuff that they've been doing. Because come on, man, 2 years, at least 10 years would be enough. 10 to 5. No, I'm even saying 5 is like disgusting to me. It's like hopefully 10 and above, I guess. 10 years, like stuff.
Also being harmed as well. So again, it's a huge industry of people that just do this. But what's important
Crazy.
here is when they talk about making payments via PayPal accounts, right? Like these people aren't even dealing with like cryptocurrencies. They're operating in small, tiny amounts that add up over time, just operating entirely on the fucking clear web. I mean, it's crazy to think that like,
Hmm.
your taxes are being reported, right? And as long as it's not over a certain amount, literally these people just get away with doing absolutely disgusting media behavior. And
Well, in this case, they've been captured, so I guess they need. I guess they're just like stupid in this case to even like hopefully eventually get in prison in this case.
yeah, it is what it is. And of course, these people were apparently administrating an entire group for somebody called Michael McCartney, who from Virginia in the US calls himself the Torture King. I mean, it's fucking crazy when you go down this rabbit hole and you see just how like depraved and disgusting these people end up getting to, right? I mean, just alone in this video, you've probably seen like what, 3 cases so far, 3 or maybe even 4. And it's just one thing where it's like the more you cut off the head of like a snake, it seems like the other one rises. But the good thing that did come out of this, obviously, was the fact that one of the largest groups, at least, ended up getting through some serious indictments. Anybody related to Dryden
Okay.
actually is, hopefully, at least I hope, gonna get their just desserts out of it. But when it comes to like the monkey hate community, it's like obviously this started from like YouTube and it moved from YouTube, and not just YouTube, but like obviously Facebook as well. Like, let's not pretend for a minute that this didn't exist on
Okay.
other platforms. Like, this was huge on Facebook videos. Any place with public video facing definitely has this. If you ever get this fed into your algorithm or you just see it, it's probably worth actually reporting it onto the internet. I will say, for the amount of content that exists like this on the internet, it is wild that like animal like abuse isn't necessarily thrown into anything in regards to YouTube's auto reporting feature, which I really think YouTube should add, considering like, the
Oh,
public
really?
facing platforms like YouTube and Facebook
Wait,
and
so they don't have any way to report like all this like violent animal abuse and stuff? That's actually crazy.
Twitter and whatnot were where this kind of stuff really started, and it got people to funnel into Telegram and all these encrypted services where they could sell this shit for an insane amount of money. And when you start to really look at money, for instance, you can see that like in the indictment, right, Dryden was sent payments from $40 all the way to $379. So again, it's not like a crazy amount of money for like, all the federal agencies of the US to like bunker down. Like, it's not like we're looking at the illegal drug trade market, or we're looking at, something that's, like a real money-making operation, right? This is still something that's very much under the table, but I would say that compared to like many illegal operations, this one has like a degree of like really, obviously it's like it's a level of fucked up beyond what you could imagine, and it's just really sick people doing really sick things, taking advantage of like people all over the world for literally tens of dollars to keep abusing animals just so they can sell it for $100 in the fucking United States. I mean, to think that there's a whole market of people buying fucking snuff like it's the plot to Manhunt, it's still insane to believe. But ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mutahar, and yeah, good news.
Yeah.
One of the most evil communities
Oh.
on YouTube, starting from YouTube, has been continued to constantly get shut down. And hopefully these indictments and charges stick, and people actually pay some real fucking consequences to the kind of stuff that they've been putting out onto the internet. This is not something that I take lightly. This is obviously full-on, complete criminal behavior that needs to be stopped. It should have been stopped yesterday. But the sad black pill is, it probably won't. Anytime there's a buck to be made, there's a monkey to be beaten, unfortunately, according to these communities. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe, or dislike it if you dislike it.
Well, I think for me, it's like my opinion for that. It's like, I think I disagree. No matter how much money in this case, you can always go to the source, and in this case, like the viewers, in this case, that even like pay the money to begin with. But unfortunately, this also encourages other countries to even like do this more often too, if there's like money to be made. But at least if there are laws from the people that view this type of disturbing stuff to begin with, like you can try to hopefully slap the books for them and laws within their country, because they are living within their country. Yeah, I really hope that there's also an international thing about this. It seems like there's no laws against like violent stuff that has been going on in the internet. It seems like I still feel that the internet is still like in a wild west in this case. And when it comes to some of the violent stuff that have been going on, there's not a lot of laws, which is so weird. This should have been like made, as Mutahar said, from yesterday, I guess. So yeah, friends, at least in a good place. This evil community has been shut down, and they're trying to run away and escape and spread their wings, I guess. But they can eventually get the hard rock on a hard place, I guess. So thank you, friends, for watching, and good evening.